they are going to ask you what are the different testing types that you are going to use to write test cases. Okay, that is important question. So what are the different types of testing techniques that we follow?
Equivalence partitioning.
Yeah, equivalence partitioning.
Boundary value analysis.
Boundary value.
Boundary value analysis. What else?
Driver.
So people are not reading. Decision table.
Transition state.
Transition state.
Error
And error guessing. These are the 5 technique types that we are gonna use to write the test cases. Mostly we are gonna use boundary value analysis. That is the important one that we follow. Then in some cases we use equivalence class partition. Okay, what is meant by STLC? What is meant by STLC?
Software test lifecycle.
Yeah. Can you tell me what all the process that what all the steps we have in the software testing lifecycle?
STLC is a process in which we use, by using some methodologies, we produce a product as expected by the customer.
That is STLC.
Yes. Oh, you asked about STLC. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. No problem. STLC. What is mean? What are the first? What we are gonna get it?
Requirements from the customer.
Requirement from the customer. Once we get the requirement from the customer, what we are gonna do?
Write test
analysis.
Yeah. So requirement study or analysis. Study or analysis. So here we are gonna understand what we are gonna do exactly. So here we are gonna understand about the product. Then next, what we are gonna do?
Design.
Sorry, Andy. Test plan. Okay, we are gonna write a test plan. After that,
test cases.
Test case design. In the test case design, what all the things we follow? To prepare test cases, what we write?
Identify all the scenario.
Yeah, identify all scenarios. What is meant by scenario?
All the requirements
high-level
given by the
high-level functionality of the future. So based on that scenario, we are going to write multiple test cases, right? We're going to write test cases. After writing the test cases, what we are going to do?
We have to review that case.
Yeah. So review the test cases. Next, we need to take an approval. Then we need to store it in a repository. Okay, this is the test case design that we follow. This is the steps that we follow to design a test cases. So we know about what is meant by test case. We know what is meant by test scenario. What is the difference between test case and test scenario? Test scenario is high level definition of the future. What is meant by test case?
It's a low level.
Yeah, low level, step by step we are going to write
Include all
step-by-step procedure
Exactly.
to execute an application. So I'm going to tell you the concept. Okay, whatever the definitions that I have given in the notes, just try to get the definitions from the notes. Okay, so I'm not going to tell exact definition, but I'm going to give the concept of the concept. So step-by-step procedure to execute the application. Okay, so we are going to write multiple steps in a test case. So each and every step will be written. So suppose login functionality, if you want to test the login functionality, as I explained yesterday, we're going to write to enter the username. Enter username is one of the step. Then what is the expected result? Username we should be able to enter the username. Be able to enter the username in the username edit box. So these are the steps. So again, for the password, we are going to write the step. For login, we are going to write the step. So like this, we are going to divide the test case into small steps and we execute those. Okay. So identify all scenarios, we write test cases, we review the test cases. Who is going to review the test cases? Who is going to review the test cases? So we have a team of 3 testers. Okay. 3 testers. One is Nikund. 2 is Ajay. And 3 is Sunita. So Nick has written login functionality test cases. Ajay has written compose mail test cases.
Everybody test.
Yeah. So Nick is gonna write login test cases, login functionality test cases. Ajay will gonna write compose mail test cases. Sunita will gonna write sent items test cases. So who is gonna review Sunita's test cases?
Remaining 2 of them.
Yeah, remaining 2 of them will review those test cases. If we have any comments, if Ajay or Nick gives any comments for the test cases written by Sunita, then those test cases will be updated by Sunita and send it back to Ajay and Nick to review those. Once it is approved, then we will take approval. Once it is approved, we'll store it in repository. Same way, Nick's test cases will be reviewed by Ajay and Sunita. Ajay's test cases will be reviewed by Sunita and Nick. So once we get reviewed inside within our testing team, then we'll go and get an approval from product owner or business analyst. Okay, we need to get approval from product owner or business analyst. So what we are going to do, once we complete writing test cases, once we complete writing our test cases and reviewed between us, then we'll schedule a meeting. We'll schedule a meeting with all the team members. We'll schedule a meeting with all the team members, including developers, testers, product owner, business analyst, scrum master, and project manager. So all the team members, whoever are there. So if you have 10 members in the team, 10 members will join this call. So we are going to explain the test cases. Whatever the test cases we are written, we are going to explain to them in front of all the team members. So if they give any suggestions, or if you have missed any requirement, or if you have missed any test cases, then they are going to raise there. So once we go and explain them, they are going to see all the test cases, and if that is okay, then we'll take approval from the product owner, then we'll store it in repository. So If we get any comments, or if they ask us to update any of the scenarios that we missed, then we need to update it, then take the approval of business owner or product owner. Okay, then after getting approval from the product owner or business analyst, then we are going to store it in repository. So this is the process that we are going to follow to write a test cases. Okay, that is this test case design technique. So based on the requirement, we identify all the scenarios. Then we write test cases for the scenarios that we have identified. Then we get reviewed in between the testers. Once the review completes, then we'll schedule a meeting with the team, whole team. Then we'll discuss whatever the test cases that we have written. Then after completing the meeting, if we have any comments, then we are going to update those. Then we get an approval from the product owner or business analyst. Then after getting the approval, we'll store it in a repository. Repository means that we are storing in one of the location, shared location, so anyone can access. Any of the team member can access that. Okay, this is about test case design technique. After writing the test cases, what we are going to do? Traceability matrix. I'm repeating a lot of times, so that if you don't read also, you need to know the concept. That's why. So what do you mean by traceability matrix? So traceability matrix, we are gonna verify, we are gonna map each and every requirement with the test cases we have written. So we'll come to know whether we have missed any test cases for particular requirement. So tracing, just we are tracing. So requirement
Tracing
one,
the requirements
yeah,
has been
test
covered.
cases, whether we have written the test cases or not. Requirement 2, whether we have written the test cases or not. Requirement 3, whether we have written the test cases or not. If any one of the requirement we miss, then we'll come to know that for that particular requirement we miss to write the test cases. So to trace whether the coverage is happened to all the requirements, to check whether the coverage of the test cases was happened to each and every requirement in the requirement document. So requirement document will be given in the 1 login, 1.1 enter username, 1.2 enter password, 1.3 click on login. So this is login. Next 2 compose. So like this, it will be given in numbers. So we'll easily come to know what is the requirement 1, what is the requirement 2. So this one login will become the requirement 1. Compose application is the requirement 2. So sent items will be the requirement 3, like that. So based on that, we'll check whether each and every requirement got test cases. Okay, this is traceability matrix. Next, what we are going to do after the traceability matrix?
Test execution.
Test execution. So by seeing the test cases which we have written, the test cases which are in the repository, just blindly follow the test cases that we have written. Just blindly, no need to think anything. Okay, just test cases. So we have a login test case. Just we have all the steps for the login test case. Just we see what is the first step. Just execute, enter the username. Just by seeing all the steps, we'll execute it. So no need to think anything, because these test cases already reviewed by all of the team members. So no need to think about the functionality or anything. So blindly follow the test cases and execute. Okay. After executing, so if any one of the test case is not working as expected, then we are going to raise a defect. So defect tracking or defect reporting. So what we do in the defect reporting? So once we find the defect, we'll raise a defect to the developer. Okay. Once it is raised, then it will be in the. So I'll explain you about the defect lifecycle in few minutes. So if we find a defect, then we'll send an email to the developer that we have found this defect. So you need to fix it. So what happens? It will go back to the development. and he'll fix it.
Mm.
Once it is fixed, we'll come back and test it, and we'll retest the defect that he has fixed, whether it is working properly or not. Okay. So then after defect, then what we are going to do?
Test report.
Test reports. So we are gonna keep all the reports: test plan, test cases, traceability matrix document, test execution report, defect report. All these reports will be stored in one of the location. This will be shared to the customer, management, and team members. Okay. Then we are gonna have a retrospective meeting. So I already explained you about the retrospective meeting in the Agile methodology. What is meant by retrospective meeting? Do you remember Agile methodology?
What
went wrong
will
and what will
wrong and
Yeah.
what will good
Yeah.
and
What went well?
improvements.
Yeah. So those are the things that we are going to discuss. So by after delivering whole product, then we are going to discuss within our team members what went well, what didn't go well, and what are the improvements that we need to take care if once we start the new project. So whatever the mistakes that we have done here should not be repeated in the next new project. So that's why we are going to discuss all the points there in the retrospective meeting. So this is about software testing lifecycle. So you should be able to explain each and every step here. They ask you to explain the software testing lifecycle. So you need to start with the requirement. We are going to get the requirement from the customer, which is going to bring by the product owner or business analyst. Then we analyze or study the requirement. Then we'll start preparing the test plan. After writing the test plan, we are going to design the test cases. In the test cases, we identify all the scenarios first. Then we are going to write all the test cases based on the identification of the scenarios. Then we'll review in between us. Once it got reviewed, then we'll go and schedule a meeting with the team members. Once it is approved by the product owner or business analyst, we'll store it in a repository. Okay. After test case design, we are going to write a traceability matrix document. We are going to prepare a traceability matrix, which will tell us the coverage of the test cases for each and every requirement. Then after that, we are going to execute the once the build is delivered, once the code is delivered, we are going to start the execution by seeing the test cases that we have written. Then if we found any defect, then we are going to raise with the developer. Once the defect is fixed, then we're going to retest it. After that, we're going to send all the reports: test plan document, test case document, test traceability matrix document, test execution report, and defect report document will be sent to the customer and the management. Then